Hey, what's going on, Genesis family? It is your boy, CY, and this is another episode of the Genesis podcast. This is what we call a micro episode where I just drop some information and some knowledge that I've obtained through this journey, this thing called life, over the course of my vast lifetime. And so one of the things I always was wondering is and you may wonder this too. You might ponder this question. Have you ever wondered why you lose momentum? And it's not what you think it is. The reason you lose momentum is it's not because you don't have motivation. It's not because you have big goals. It's not even a lack of discipline. A lot of you trying to do amazing things, like myself, we have a level of discipline through being in the military, through the way you were brought up, through life, through playing sports. There's a level of discipline that's already there. But what I found out for myself, and hopefully you, if this resonates with you, it'll be like your aha. It'll be your aha moment, right? I had a internal systems problem. I had an internal order problem. See, I was busy, but there was honestly a lack of focus. Like I was in the on the street, but I wasn't at the right house. I was unsure about where I was going, and honestly, I was misaligned. It's like back in the day when you would turn your radio on, trying to get that radio station. Some I might be giving you my age. I'm probably a little bit older than some of you, but you would have that knob and you would tune in, and the radio station would not come in clearly until you got right on the right station, right on the right frequency on that radio. And oftentimes, when you weren't, you would hear a lot of static. I think that's where a lot of us are. We hear the static and we're close to the frequency, but we're slightly off. So I was misaligned. I wasn't fully tuned into the right frequency. So I was doing things that I thought were going to move the needle, but honestly, my methods were inconsistent. And what I found out is that I had some internal fragmentation going on. I was internally fragmented. You say internally fragmented. What's that, CY? So being internally fragmented means this: is that my thinking was very scattered, and I had a lot of priorities, and I was trying to fill too many buckets. And my emotions, your emotions, start to pull you into different directions. The pressure of life, fear of not being good enough to complete the assignment, right? The excitement of trying to be who you said you want to be, and the dream and the thing that you see, or just the frustration because you feel like you don't have the motion to get where you're going. So that's what internal fragmentation is, right? It means that my actions are disconnected from my stated values. My values, I say this is who I want to be, but do or did my actions align with that? So I would want you to pause and reflect on that. Do your actions align with your stated values? I just pause right there just for a second for you to reflect on that. So that's what being internally fragmented means, right? All of us are motivated, and we're motivated because we want the progress. We feel the urgency. We feel the call. We care about what happens, the outcome of the work that we're doing, and we're intentional about moving forward. But until we repair the internal fragmentation, we're always going to be misaligned. So, in other words, momentum is not something that you chase. Momentum is something that you qualify for through your actions. It's like your credit score. It's like your discipline's credit score. If you are in the 500s, momentum, you don't qualify for momentum. When you get in the 800s, you qualify for momentum. And you qualify for momentum when your internal systems, when my internal system started to align with the assignment for the season I was in. Here's the thing: your assignment will change through in seasons of life. Think about this: there's a winter, there's a spring, there's a fall, there's a summer, right? And I didn't say them in order: winter, spring, summer, fall. But they happen. Things change. A tree loses his leaves in the fall, in the winter, and then spring, the summer, new leaves, new fruit appears. Does the tree not know who he's supposed to be? Is the tree not aligned with his assignment? His assignment is to bear leaves, to bear fruit, or to provide shade. So when we know who we are, we have an internal system in place that aligns with our assignment for the season. I have clarity of thought. I've learned to regulate my emotion and I don't react. My standards are very consistent and it's not dependent on my mood, my bank account, what happened at work today, what's going on with me and my spouse. My standards are consistent and my actions are disciplined. My actions used to be disciplined, but they were occasional. When I learned to show up each and every day and be consistent with that, that's when the internal alignment happened and that's when the change began to be evident. Because I could feel it, even though I couldn't see it, I could feel it, right? They say you have to be a millionaire in your mind before you get a million. The shirt says mindset millionaire. So I gotta be a millionaire in my mind before I be a millionaire in the natural. You got to be the thing that you want to be before you become the thing that you want to be. Does that make sense? You have to be in order to become, and you don't become it until you be it. That might have went over your head, but think about it for just a second. So think about this. When your thinking is scattered, your emotions are unregulated, and your standards are very inconsistent. My external life always will mirror that disorder. So learning to create internal order that creates external momentum is the game plan. This is what we're talking about today. I learned to create internal order that sustains my external momentum. And so today I want to walk you through really quickly a simple 4-step process that I've used over the last 5 years as God has downloaded it in me and I've fine tuned it and I begin to really see the momentum in my life, right? So I set some internal order and then the external momentum has become inevitable, right? So first of all, I want to stop and say, if you're rocking with CY, if you're rocking with the Genesis podcast, I need you to hit the subscribe button. I need you to set your notifications. I need you to comment. And most of all, I need you to share. If this podcast and this information resonates with you and you're getting value out of it, that's all I ask of you. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Go ahead, hit that share button. Go ahead, hit the thumbs up, the like button, and go ahead and comment for me. And watch the full podcast. It's not very long. You can do it in the morning during your personal development. I truly appreciate you for doing that. Let's get into the 4 steps. So the 4 steps to sustain momentum. One is order your mind with clarity. That's the first thing I did. I ordered my mind with clarity. And understanding that momentum always starts here. Because before I can see results and my life changes, my thinking must change. Say change your mindset, change your life. No more stinking thinking. That's the first step, right? So what I want you to do as you're trying to gain clarity of your mind, ask yourself this. Am I doing what actually matters to me in this season? And if I'm not, and it doesn't align, find out why and make the change. 2, what am I responsible for right now? In this season of who I said I wanted to become, what am I responsible for? Am I controlling the controllables? Am I showing up? I'm not talking about everything. I'm talking about the assignment and the vision that you see, the plan that you've written down. Write the vision down, make it plain. What are you responsible for within that vision? Clarify that. And then finally, what distractions are you tolerating that are diluting your focus? What distractions? Because distractions are coming. When you start to get on the right road, understand this. Resistance is coming. Because resistance is what prepares you to carry the load. So what resistance or what distraction are you allowing to pull you off of focus? Pull you from your assignment? What are you allowing to weigh you down in this season that does not align with having a clear mind, a focused mindset, and tuned in frequency to who God is calling you to be? When you understand that you don't need to be motivated to finish your assignment, you just need fewer priorities that compete with who you want to become. You got to understand your why should outweigh your emotions, your feelings, and the distractions, and you understand that, when your mind is cluttered, you produce scattered execution. You're going to sporadically do the things that you are supposed to do, and you'll see a little momentum, but it'll die out. It's like a firecracker. You ever seen a firecracker that was dud? It might take off, but when it got the bottle rocket, it get halfway up, and it just starts to flail. That's how we are when our mind is scattered. Scattered execution kills momentum. So when your mind is scattered, your execution and momentum is stagnant, right? So clarity is this. Clarity is a disciplined mind. That's good right there. Clarity is discipline of your mind. Are you clear on who you are? I heard that great poet Jay-Z, I'm clear why I'm here. How about you? Are you clear on what you're supposed to be doing, who you're supposed to be becoming, and why you're doing it? Because there is somebody behind you waiting on you to become the person you're supposed to be. And you're ruminating on everything except for the assignment. You're making every excuse you can. That was me making every excuse I can. Nobody wants to hear me. Nobody's going to come to the summit. Nobody wants to hear me talk. Well, evidently somebody does. And evidently somebody wants to hear you talk. You are here for a reason. You're not here haphazardly. You're already a winner. If you know how many people, well, I ain't gonna even call them people, potential people you had to compete with in order to fertilize that egg, you already should know that you're a winner, right? So when you understand that clarity does not come from more information, it comes from you subtracting and removing distractions, removing people, removing a limiting belief system, removing anything that hinders you from becoming the person that you desire to be. If you want to lose weight, remove food out of your refrigerator, out of your pantry that is going to stop you from losing weight. Cookies, soda, everything, remove it out the house. That's when you have clarity, because I know that this is a detriment to me meeting my goal. You'll do what needs to be done. So when your mind is ordered, the decisions become simpler. You have clarity that I want to lose weight. You have clarity to understand that cookies, honey buns, Little Debbie snack cakes, gummy bears, they will not allow you to lose the weight that you want to. Drive through McDonald's, Wendy's, that's not going to allow you to lose weight. Execution becomes cleaner because energy and focus stops leaking. So step one is order the mind with clarity. Y'all tracking with me? This is good. Drop a one in the chat at this point in the podcast. All right, number two, regulate your emotional environment. I had to learn how to regulate my emotions and the environments that I was in. I can't build momentum when I'm emotionally reactive. When I react to what's going on, what's happening around me, I can't move the needle forward. I can't become the person that I want to, because there are going to be things that are going to get dropped in your environment that are meant to get you off of your point, get you frustrated and focused so you don't really understand who you're supposed to be. Understand this, that pressure doesn't stop momentum. It's allowing my unregulated emotions and responses to escalate is what stops my momentum. Pressure doesn't stop momentum. Allowing unregulated emotions to escalate is what stops momentum. When I don't know how to regulate myself, when I am not aware what is going to cause me to respond in the wrong way, I cannot manage that. So before I start to react or act, I need to pause. What I've learned to do is pause and ask myself. Even when it comes to my wife, like when we have disagreements or she does something that I deem that I didn't like. I heard somebody told us in counseling and therapy and things of that nature, wait till the next morning, unless it's just something ultimately that cannot wait. And oftentimes the next morning, you have forgotten the thing that had you frustrated. And you're like, oh, what was I even upset about? So now I haven't gotten out of character, and I respond with intention, and I don't react out of pressure. So ask yourself, am I responding with intention, or am I reacting out of pressure? Remember that pressure bursts pipes, or pressure makes diamonds. Which one are you? You're a burst pipe, or you're a diamond, or are you a cubic zirconia? I'm just asking. I'm just saying. Just saying. Think about it. Pause and consider. Secondly, I need you to ask yourself, is this frustration? Is this my insecurity? Or is this urgency driving my decision? Meaning, I thought I would be further than I am right now. So now I'm responding emotionally and out of frustration because I want to move the needle forward. I want to get to this place by this time. And God is delaying you for a reason. Understand that your need to control and not surrender is actually competing with who God has called you to be in this season, because you won't surrender the thing that God is saying you don't need to control it any longer. Let me control it, because I can see from the beginning, I can see to the end, and I can see in the middle. And you are trying to control the wheel, and you're gonna crash out. You're gonna hit a pothole that's gonna slow you all the way down. Let me drive. So is urgency driving your decision? Your need to control driving your decision because you're reacting out of emotion. So my standard is very simple. This is what I learned to do for myself, and I'm just sharing it, and hopefully it helps you. I don't make any decisions in an escalated emotional state. I regulate myself, and that restores control of my emotions. Meaning, I remove myself. I do something that is going to calm me down before my emotions take control. And when I do that, I'm back in control. I have the authority. And when I have authority, that restores my consistency, because my emotions aren't derailing my production. Oftentimes, I would let my emotions derail my production because it wasn't looking like I wanted. It wasn't happening fast enough. God, you're not doing what I want you to do. But God is never called to do what I want him to do. I'm called to do what he's assigned me to do. So sometimes that is the emotion that's derailing you. And so what happens is, when you control your emotions, and you're back in control, you actually restore your consistency. Your consistency, not your intensity, builds the momentum over time. Be faithful over the few things. I'll make you ruler over many. And when you understand this, this is what creates the compound interest, or as Pastor Darius Daniels says, it creates quantum leaps in life. And that's where we want to get to, is the quantum leaps. So if you don't slow yourself down, you're not leading, you're reacting, and you're being led by your emotions. So step 2 is regulate the emotional environment. Step 3 is reinforce your standards through action. This is where internal order becomes very visible, and you understand clearly who you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to be doing, and you execute no matter what. And understand that just because you're intentional, that doesn't build momentum. Actions build momentum, right? I often say that you confirm or deny your belief system by the actions that you take. What do your actions say about you? So build an internal honor code, a system of standards that you hold yourself to that become pressure proof. And all right, then also find some people that can help you reinforce those standards through action. Bruh, I said this is what I want to do. This is how I want to be. I need you to keep your foot on my neck. And you can't be in your feelings because you said this is who you wanted to be. So ask yourself this: do you have an internal code, internal honor code? Secondly, ask yourself, does this action align with my standard and who I said I wanted to be today? See, break up the day. Worry about the next 8, 16, 24 hours ahead of you. Stop worrying about 6 months from now. You can't control 8 hours in front of you. What do you think how you think you're gonna control the 6 months ahead of you? Control the controllables. I say that all the time. Does this action align with my standard today? What did I allow to delay or pull me away from what I know is required? That's the second question. What did I allow to delay me or pull me away from doing what was required of me today? And then here's what you do. If you've allowed yourself to get distracted, do the easiest thing that you can find on your action item list. Do it now. Not yesterday. Do it now. N-O-W, capital N-O-W. Do it now, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Understand this, that action trains the mind. Action forms new neural pathways. The problem is we have already formed neural pathways that want the path of least resistance. So the resistance that we feel being uncomfortable is them new neural pathways being formed. You are forging new territory. That's what a new neural pathway is. You are forging new territory. You are literally in the forest, in the desert, and you are carving a path to create a new person. Action then reinforces your identity because this is who I am because this is how I show up. I reinforce who I am through my standards, through my action. And when you know who you are, it's easy for me to show up and do the things that are required of me to get to the place that I want to get. Discipline is not a restriction, it is self trust in motion. So, step 3, reinforce your standards through action. Step 4, hold up, but let me say this real quick. I had this in my notes and I just want to share it with this. Every time you act in alignment with your standard, your momentum compounds. The rule of 72. Go look up the rule of 72 with money, and you can do the same thing with your habits, with your actions, with your discipline. Now, step 4, measure and repeat. Review, measure, and repeat. What they say, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Momentum compounds when my behavior is reviewed and repeated. The right behaviors. Because I can review my behaviors for the day and say, nah, that didn't align with who I wanted to be. Let me make sure I don't do that again. And when I consistently elevate my decisions and my repeated actions align with who I said I wanted to be, the momentum stops depending on my motivation. See, that's the problem. My momentum depended on my motivation. But when I changed and aligned myself with my actions and my decisions, it started compounding automatically. It was on autopilot. So at the end of the day, I asked myself this: did what I do honor my code? Did it meet my standards? Was it aligned with the process of who I want to become? 2, where did I respond intentionally versus emotionally? Because there's going to be pockets in the day that something's going to happen. Somebody going to cut in front of you in the store. You might want to pop off. You and your wife get your wires crossed. You and your partner get into it about something. Or somebody doesn't do something that they said they were going to do that will allow you to show if you're in control of your emotions or you're reacting to your emotions. And then finally say, what do I need to reinforce tomorrow? What didn't I get right today that I need to get right tomorrow? So every night, look at your list. First of all, create a to-do list. What you need to do the next day. Scratch them off as you get them done. Review that. Review how you felt, what you did, how you responded, and then move those items up as you create the next, and then reflect on how you responded in these situations. And truly, are they pushing you, these actions, this action list, what I'm doing, is it really aligned with who I said I wanted to be? Because understand that this whole thing is a process. You're never going to get it overnight. If you get it overnight, you're not going to be able to carry it along at all. Your character has not stood the test of time. Your character has not been tested for you to be able to sustain that, right? Because when you get on the stage and when you get the attention and your social media is popping and you got the bots coming at you and you got some fat dude sitting in his mama's basement eating ramen noodles talking about what you're doing, are you going to be able to sustain it? So what you do at night is you elevate the alignment, and then you understand that alignment, sustained over time, creates momentum without forcing it. And then repetition turns discipline into reflex. You want it to be on reflex, right? This is automatic, right? It's like your alarm in the morning. When you set it, you know it's going to go off because it's automatic. And this is how effort becomes easy. This doesn't happen overnight. This didn't happen overnight for me, but it happens inevitably because I continue to do the things required of me to create a new neural pathway, to create the right habits. And I'm not where I need to be or I want to be, but I'm going to continue to show up in this fashion because this is who I want to be. So 4, review, measure, and repeat. So as we close this out, as I, hopefully this resonated with you. This is something that you can use. I just wanted to share because I felt led by God to do so. Well, just understanding this, that your momentum is not random. And that momentum really shows up naturally. Once you establish internal order, external momentum follows easily because you know who you are, you know why you're doing what you're doing, you know the reason, you know your why. Your why has to be bigger than anything going on. So, in closing, here's a quick recap to the 4 step method. Internal order to get to external momentum. One, you need to order your mind, establish clarity, eliminate competing priorities, and that focus narrows execution. You need to get right on the station where there's no static. You don't need to be on the station with static because you're not all the way drilled in. Two, you need to regulate your emotions. Slow your pace, lower your emotional intensity, and learn to respond and not react. Three, you're going to reinforce your standards with action. Execute the smallest discipline action expeditiously, as T.I. says, and understand that action trains your identity. And when you know who you are, you show up as him. When you get up in the morning, you get up, I'm him because God has stamped and approved me. Now I'm gonna go do what he called me to do. So understand that all this is a form of worship to the gift that God has given you. God gives the gift. It's your job, my job, to give it back to him with a return. Fourth, review and repeat. Measure what you're doing, review it, adjust, recalibrate, and then keep moving because repetition builds momentum. So, in closing, this is why I was consistently losing momentum until God started to show me what was going on with me. I got the clarity of assignment, I got alignment of who I'm supposed to be, and I started to execute. And so in 2026, that's one of my words is execution. Execute the game plan. Until next time, this is your boy CY. This is the Genesis Podcast. Please hit the like, subscribe, share, and comment button. And I'm gone. Hey!